Today, I want to talk about intercessory prayer. And all the intercessors say, yay. You weren't actually supposed to say yay. I can't with y'all. If you're talking about intercession, the power of petition. So if you will travel with me to the Old Testament, we're going to go to Numbers chapter 14 today. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not say I am grateful and perplexed sometimes when I get, well, no, I'm never grateful when I get a text message or a phone call from Dr. D, because I know why she's calling me. I'm always perplexed. Like, was everybody else out of town, you know? I know I saw Elder Mike in here earlier today. I know somebody's here. But I don't take this lightly. I don't know. Like everybody else, I'm the least to be deserving to be here. I'll say this. The Travis Green song, right? And we made a way. And I don't think I've ever been confused about the don't know how part. I got that. You're God. That's how. The why always gets me though. So I'm so glad that the verse says I don't know why, but I'm grateful. I know me. I know where I came from. I know what I've done. The vast majority of you have only ever seen the polished Tony. Matter of fact, none of you know Anthony. None of you. You only know Tony. It's the only guy you've ever known. But for 28 years, there was a whole other dude named Anthony. A lot of people know him. Some people are still angry with him. And maybe rightfully so. And so, yeah, I don't take this for granted at all. So let's pray right quick and then we'll get into this. Father, thank you so much for using the least of us in order to propagate your word, in order to attempt in some futile, mortal way to disseminate the information that is located in this book. Father, we thank you that it was written over the course of thousands of years ago, and yet it is still relevant. So help us to find the relevancy for our time, for our moment. Father, anoint me as you will, so that I do your word no injustice and I do your people no harm. Help the speaking to be right, help the hearing to be right, so that we can all leave the building better than when we came in. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about, again, intercession, power, prayer. And we're going to be in Numbers 14. And so the working definition of intercession is to act or interpose on behalf of someone in difficulty or trouble, as by pleading or petition. Another way of saying it is to stand between two opposing forces. For us, the majority of the time, the two opposing forces that we're standing between is God and everybody else. The thing about standing between two opposing forces that we have to keep in mind is that if we don't stand in between them, there's a very good likelihood that one will destroy the other. So when we're talking about intercession, we're talking about us standing in between God destroying everybody that's on this side of the fence, right? So 14 reads, I'm going to read verses 1 through 5, and then we're going to jump down, and then we'll come back, okay? So New Living Translation says this. Then all the people, 14:1 says, all the people began weeping aloud, and they cried all night. Their voices rose in a great chorus of complaint against Moses and Aaron. We wish we had died in Egypt, or even here in the wilderness. Ridiculous. They wailed, why is the Lord taking us to this country only to have us die in battle? Our wives and little ones will be carried off as slaves. Let's get out of here and return to Egypt. Then they plotted among themselves, let's choose a leader and go back to Egypt. Jump over to verse 10 for me. But the whole community began talking about stoning Joshua and Caleb. Then the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to all the Israelites from above the tabernacle. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people reject me? Will they never believe me even after all the miraculous signs I have done among them? I will disown them and destroy them with a plague. Then I will make you into a nation far greater and mightier than they. In the New Living Translation, the first word of verse 13 is but. What will the Egyptians think when they hear about it? Moses pleaded with the Lord. They know full well the power you displayed in rescuing these people from Egypt. They will tell this to the inhabitants of this land, who are well aware that you are with this people. They know, Lord, that you have appeared in full view of your people in the pillar of cloud that hovers over them. They know that you go before them in the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. Now, if you slaughter all these people, the nations that have heard of your fame will say, the Lord was not able to bring them into the land he swore to give them, so he killed them in the wilderness. Please, Lord, prove that your power is as great as you have claimed it to be. For you said the Lord is slow to anger and rich in unfailing love, forgiving every kind of sin and rebellion. I'm going to stop right there again as I stopped this morning, because if it was important at 8 o'clock, it's important at 11:30. The Lord is slow to anger and rich in unfailing love, forgiving every kind of sin and rebellion. Let me make something extremely clear to you. And if you don't need this, I want you to take it and make it extremely clear to someone you know. There is literally not a solitary sin that you can commit that God cannot forgive you for. If you go to God in genuine repentance, no matter how vile, no matter how heinous, no matter how repetitive it has been, the Bible is absolutely clear. This is Moses talking to God. I think if Moses was lying, God probably would have said, yeah, that part's not true. Every kind of sin and rebellion. And I want you to think about that. If you're in the room today and you know you are not saved, you know that you've never been born again, or you are even the remotest bit unsure, I want you to keep that on your mind for the rest of this sermon. Even so, he does not leave sin unpunished, but he punishes the children for the sins of their parents to the third and fourth generations. Please pardon the sins of this people because of your magnificent, unfailing love, just as you have forgiven them ever since they left Egypt. Verse 20, then the Lord said, I will pardon them as you have requested. So let's do a little background, right? We've gotten out of Egypt. We've crossed over the water. Pharaoh and his army have been consumed while the Israelites went across on dry land. We traveled. Now we get into this other place, this other river, the Jordan, right? And God is saying, all right, y'all are here. This is it. We about to make this happen. So they got together 12 spies and they said, look, we need you guys to go over into the land of Canaan. We need you to spy it out. Just come back and tell us what you see, what it looks like. Sergeant McFarland, I want to say this, he always teases me because I try to use military parlance and I always get it wrong. It was reconnaissance. I did it. It was a recon mission. They were going to get intel so they could bring it back and say, hey, this is what we saw. So the 12 come back, and 10 of these guys come back flatline. No, sir. This is not going to happen. Do not go over there. It's bad. It's lions and tigers and bears. Scary stuff has happened over there. They got big dogs. They got everything, right? So they come back. They say this phrase, which is so telling. They say, we were like grasshoppers in our own sight. They said, we saw ourselves as grasshoppers, and the contrast is to giants, right? So they come back, and these 10 guys get millions of people riled up. It came out at 8, it bears repeating. Sometimes majority rules is a lie. Sometimes the majority are fools. Just because everybody is saying or doing it, or most people are saying or doing it, doesn't mean you should say or do it. Doesn't mean you should follow the trend, okay? So that's the reality of it. It was a 10-2 split. 10 guys were like, no. 2 guys were like, yes. So this is where we're going. So they're complaining. You hear them. They're complaining. Oh, you should have left us in Egypt. Oh, we should have. And I'm thinking, I didn't even think about this just now until I wrote it out. They was like, why don't you just let us die? We should have died in Egypt. We could have died in the wilderness. Why die in battle? And I'm thinking, wait, at least if you die in battle, you got a fighting chance. At bare minimum. Like, your mentality is completely jacked up. And then they're like, hey, our wives and children are going to be slaves in this land because you were what in Egypt? Slaves? Wait, let me get this right. You were slaves in Egypt, but you are complaining that if you go into the new land, your wives and children will be slaves. I don't understand the mentality of the people. And so here we are, we're complaining. And it's not just complaining. If we go into, I'll jump and come back to it. But if you notice, they even talked about stoning Joshua and Caleb. So this wasn't just, man, I can't believe we came out here. It's all hot. We ain't got no water. The AC broke out here. My shoes is worn out. This was like, nah, we should kill y'all. Because, and I want you to just try to encompass, if you can, the concept that 10 guys could affect the entire nation, right? So if you got, 150 people in the room, right? So let's take 150, right? And you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Just 10 people. It would seem that out of all of y'all, somebody would hear this 10 and hear the 2 and go, I don't know, maybe we should investigate this. No, it was like there's no investigation. Them 10 guys said we can't go. We're not going. So here's all this complaining and all this murmuring and all this other stuff. And then at the end of all of this, God is like, got it. Slaves, got it. You want a new leader? We got it. Stoning, we got it. Okay, how about I just kill all y'all? Makes a good solution to me. I mean, since you don't like where I'm taking you, I could kill you. Guess what? You don't get to go. But we insert this moment of intercession right at that juncture, right at that place. So the first point I want to talk about is this. Let me say this before I move on. If you're an intercessor, raise your hand. You know that you're an intercessor, okay? You're not special. Put your hands down. I say that not to take a dig at us, but to make sure that everybody else realizes that being an intercessor doesn't make you special. Just because you hear people hollering and screaming in the room, maybe your mama or grandmama being there, listen, there is such a weight on when I say people who are called to be intercessors. Every single person that is a born-again believer is qualified to intercede on behalf of other people. You are qualified to solicit, what's the word I was trying to say? You have the power to send up intercessory prayers on other people's behalf. Intercessors are simply called to pray at a different level. Not just we so outside the thing. It's just a different thing. But there's a weight to it. Because the things that God calls intercessors to pray for, it's a little heavier. And I don't know any intercessor personally that's like, oh yeah, maybe someone loves it, but not when they get thick. You'd be like, God, can you please leave me alone? Like, can I get a day off? It's like, seriously, because your heart is always heavy. You're weeping. You're just like, man, what's going on? That's the ending of my intercessor. So here's the thing. The first thing is this. You have to have a heart for the people. Our hearts have to be in the right condition. David prays and he says, give me a clean heart, right? A clean heart, renew a right spirit in me. But if our attitude toward people is wrong, our intercession is pointless. Listen, we have to, in all of the complaining, in all of the murmuring, everything that happened, Moses could have very easily just not. Check this out. Verses 13 through 19, right? We read this. And I'll read it again. It says, but what will the Egyptians think when they hear about it? Because the thing before that is, this is what God says, I will destroy them. And Moses says, but what will the Egyptians think when they hear about it? And then he goes on and he begins to petition God on behalf of the people who don't even like him. Now, they talking about stoning Joshua and Caleb, but I trust and believe if Josh and Caleb was on the hit list, who's next? Moses. And so the condition of our hearts have to be right. I will speak to two audiences. Listen, if you see, if the way that teens and young adults live repulses you to the point where you can't even be around them, you can't intercede for them. It's impossible that if somebody angers you that much because of the way they live, you can never intercede for them. If the girl who looks more like a guy than a guy, and the guy who looks more like a girl than a girl, if that just makes you want to vomit, you cannot intercede for them. You cannot. It means the condition of your heart is not right. I'm not saying let's get into this whole rainbow, pun intended, session. But if I can't at least touch you, how can I pray for you? How can I intercede for you if I won't even get close to you? It's not possible. So the condition of my heart has to be one, as we said this morning, I have to stop driving in the car of my life without my rearview mirror. Because I forget where I came from. This dude, this is the polished guy. When I tell you, if you could interview some people who know Anthony, I promise you, some of you would be like, yep, kind of had a feeling about you. So the way that we keep our hearts conditioned, one of the ways we keep our hearts conditioned is that we don't forget that we were once sinners who were lost. Listen, we don't start compartmentalizing. Well, I wasn't ever gay, and I wasn't ever a drug addict. Doesn't matter, you were going to hell. Doesn't matter what ticket you bought, you still going. It's like when you go to a concert and they got general seating, you just get whatever seat is open. Flight to hell, sit where you want to sit. You need more leg room? Sure, trade with somebody, but we all still going to hell. And we start compartmentalizing. We start forgetting that we were not always under the blood. We start forgetting that one day we were on our way. We start forgetting that we were them one day. So if the condition of my heart stays there, nobody's untouchable. I'm not asking us to second anybody's lifestyle. I'm not asking you to be accepting. I'm asking you to condition your heart so that you can intercede for them. That's all I'm asking. Listen, Jesus says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You tell me, how can we intercede with people that we don't like? I mean, and I don't just mean like I don't like them like that. I mean like, ugh. Like I'm angry when look at these, I can't believe how these people are living. It makes me so angry. That's all you ever going to be is angry. You are never going to be effective in their lives by being angry. You'll never be, listen, the church has lost so much ground over the decades by doing two things: building walls and co-signing foolishness. Right? Neither one of them healthy, right? Both of them wrong in their own way. But we got to try to do better. we have to try to reach out, reach across aisles, or reach across whatever we have to reach across. Say, listen, I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with you. What you doing ain't good. This is not how God wants you to live. But rather than me spending all my time hammering you about whatever you're doing in your life, I'm just going to intercede for you. I'm going to pray for you, okay? Let's move on to point 2. This is a good one. Point 2 is do not let the actions of people disqualify them from your intercession. If you are the parent of a teen or a young adult, young 20s, raise your hand. Teen, early 20s, okay. You understand better than anybody else what it means to just be tired. Now, if you're a parent of a toddler or a newborn, that's a different kind of tired. This tired right here, you know it. Y'all know it, right? You feeling me? You feel that down in here? You just tired. And it would be really, and listen, here's Moses, who for the better part of 40 years has been dealing with your cousins. Constantly complaining, oh, we don't got no food, we don't got no water. Oh, it's so hot out here in the desert. Oh, we should have stayed in Egypt. And this wasn't like, they just did this all the time. Moses is the leader. Can you imagine you're a supervisor and you have this one employee and every day, listen, you might just have somebody in your life. And like I said, at 8 o'clock, if you've been married for 40 years and it's your spouse, don't laugh. Do not laugh, they're going to know it. But just imagine you're the supervisor, you have an employee, and every single day saying, good morning, what's good about it? I had to get up and come here today. And watch this, every day. Do you ever have a good day? No, when I'm not here. And when I'm not here, I don't have a good day because I'm thinking about I gotta be here. No. So for 40 years, and do you know at some point in time, you're like, you know what? You just get tired. When you got a rebellious kid, you keep praying for them and you keep trying to talk to them, and you just like, I'm tired. But listen, Moses at this point, and I said this before, and I look, this is just how I roll. I'm thinking, if you don't like me that much, and then I get this memo, I get this email. Dear leadership from God, read ignorant people. How long will these people reject me? Will they never believe me even after all the miraculous signs I've done among them? I will disown them and destroy them with the plague. Then I will make you into a nation far greater and mightier than they are. Hold on. Let me get this straight. God, you're telling me that you will kill all of these knuckleheads? And you give me some, well, wait. You're not talking about killing me, right? Oh, I'm off the table? Oh, bro, do your thing. Go ahead. After all of these years, not just the murder and complaining, but they want to kill Moses. They like, oh, Moses is terrible. Oh, we could be better. And through all of that, where me would certainly be like, thy will be done, Father. I'll get super holy. Who am I to question the sovereign Lord? Watch this. Moses, first of all, he showed the condition of his heart by the prayer, but he also never let the people's actions disqualify them from interceding, because it was at this point Moses is free and clear of the destruction, everybody. You have to understand this. Moses is not counted in the number that God says, I will destroy them. Moses is outside and he says, God, but wait a second. Wait a minute. This might not be the best this might not be the best idea, God. And you got to figure that Moses really, he had something tight with God, because his opening salvo is, what the Egyptians going to think? Not, oh, great Yahweh. No, his opening salvo is, but what the Egyptians going to think? And then he goes on to this, hey, if you do this, the people in the land, your power is going to be limited. And I'm reading this prayer thinking, hey, Moses, feel a little disrespectful here. That's a little, but it's the actions of the people never disqualified them from Moses' intercession. Moses had an opportunity to start fresh, and he didn't. You and I might not have that kind of substance, but listen, so if you have people in your life, you got nieces and nephews, you got spouses, you got whoever, you got siblings, listen, the people of the nation of Israel, at this point, we have the bonus of having this book, right? We have the story. Thousands of years ago, when they are talking about we should have stayed in Egypt, we're going to die out here in battle, we're going to get a new leader, we should stone Joshua and Caleb, they don't hear the conversation that says, how long would these people reject me? I will destroy them and make you a new nation. These people had no clue that they were walking toward the edge of destruction. No clue. So there are people in our lives who don't know. They don't know that the car that they're getting into is due to crash into a tree and burst into flames. They don't know that the relationship they're about to get into is going to put them in the hospital and or in the cemetery. They do not know that the person that they're giving themselves to is going to give them something they can never get rid of. They don't know this. And if we stop interceding for them because it seems like they don't want to change, if we stop interceding for them because it seems like they're getting worse, then what we are doing is co-signing them to step off that cliff into eternity with no way to get back. Hey, I am 100% sure that my life took some altered turns because somebody was interceding for me. I couldn't see the danger. I couldn't see my destruction, but because somebody was somewhere praying for me. Listen, they may not have even known me. It may have been some lady in Dubuque, Iowa, and God woke her up and said, Anthony. And she like, I don't know who that is, but I'm going to pray for him anyway. And because that woman prayed for me, because somebody prayed for me, that when I was heading toward the cliff, you've seen the cartoons where they're just walking along blindly, and then all of a sudden things start laying in front of them. They just don't know, and before you know it, you've averted the danger. You don't even know you were in danger. So what I'm saying is, listen, there's some people in your lives, they don't know God. They don't know destruction is coming, but you do. Why do you know that? Because you know they're living recklessly. You know nothing good is coming. If you get out of the way, if you cease to stand between these two opposing forces, this one is going to get crushed because God can't stand this. And if it's in you, it's you. So I have to destroy all of it. But if you and I stop interceding because these people just acting up, if you and I stop interceding, because every time we mention Jesus, they start cussing us out. If you and I stop interceding for any reason other than they are no longer here or they are under the blood, we are at risk. We gotta stand in between these two opposing forces for as long as we can. Not just for the people we know, but for the people that we don't know. Okay. Let's move on to the third thing. Third thing, here's it is. Intercession saves lives. Campaign says seatbelt saves lives, right? Click it or ticket. They say put your seatbelt on. They say if you put your seatbelt on, you run a greater chance of surviving an accident. Check this out. Verse 20. This is God's response to Moses saying in verse 19, please pardon the sins of this people because of your magnificent, unfailing love, just as you have forgiven them ever since they left Egypt. 20 says, then the Lord said, I will pardon them as you have requested. We've been following the story. How many spies went in? 12. How many gave a bad report? 10. How many gave a good report? How many people prayed? If you ever doubt the power of your prayer of intercession, if you ever for 1 second think that I have to go and get 30 other people to rally behind me, we got to get in this war room. We got to get on our faces. Listen, the text doesn't say that Moses talked to anybody else. They didn't go into a 7-day fasting period. They didn't eat unpleasant bread. They did nothing. Moses simply heard God say, I'm going to smoke the whole crew. And Moses said, wait a minute. Wait a minute, God. The power of one request. The power of you seeing somebody headed for destruction and you go to God. Listen, notice who Moses didn't talk to. The people. He didn't go to the people and say, hey, God is about to kill y'all. Y'all better chill. God said, I'll kill them right now. Moses said, God, please don't kill these people. One person made one request and saved millions of people. The power of one request. God says, I will kill them. Moses says, God, you should not do that. I want you to understand, everybody. Sometimes intercession takes time. You have to pray for people over the course of time. Sometimes they don't have that much time. Somebody's literal life, mortal life could hang in the balance of you and I seeing what's happening. If I pass you on the street, and I'm indicting myself right now just so you know. If I pass you on the street and everything about your fruit says that your tree is dead at the root, I can intercede for you right there. And I can say, God, I don't know that guy, but spare him. Have mercy on him until he finds you. I gotta know that I got that kind of power. Not that it makes me great, but listen, Moses didn't hesitate to go to God and say, God, don't kill these people. You're too great for that, God. Don't kill these people. Listen, I don't think we are grasping that he could have said, okay. He could have said, okay, kill them all. I don't care. Make me some new people because these people are really special. And they're difficult to put up with. And we got some difficult people in our lives. And listen, you will have that temptation to be like, you know what? I'm done because this is not working. You know what? Forget it. I'll be angry instead. But the power of your one request can save a life. And listen, if you save a mortal life, hear me out. If I intercede for you and you do not get in the car accident on Saturday night, what are the chances that I could get you into church on Sunday morning? And maybe on Sunday morning you finally hear somebody talk about Jesus in a way that don't make you feel like you're crazy, and you go, I need that today. And then I tell somebody, hey, what's going on? I was in a car accident yesterday and we should have died. I don't know what happened. We were going, the truck was headed straight for us. And next thing I know, it missed. The car turned over 8 times. Some kind of way we didn't get hurt. Some kind of way at the party, the gunshot started ringing out and I didn't get shot. Some kind of way. Why? Because somebody's interceding. Somebody somewhere is saying, oh God, I don't know what that is. And I don't know who that is. But Father, save them. Like, preserve them right now. Because we want to know everything, right? We want to know all the details. You don't need the details. Oh God, I sense that. God, save them right now. Whoever they are, wherever they are, save them right now. And I want us to start exercising the right, exercising the power, exercising the privilege of that one request. God, please save them. That's all Moses did was say, God, please save them. Listen, I want to tell this quick story. Well, actually, I got two stories. Some time ago in Blaze, a girl told a story about her grandfather who died at 105. She said that her dad had been praying for her grandfather for years. The dad got saved, grandfather wasn't saved. And it was just a few short years before he left this earth that he received Christ. His son had been interceding for him for generations, for decades, and he finally found God. That's that long-term intercession. I got a short-term intercession story too. Crystal Rutherford told us a story about her dad, and she said she just felt like she needed to pray for her father. She said she prayed for him, didn't think anything of it. Later on, I think she's about maybe 2 or 3 a.m., she gets awakened and finds out that he's been in a really, really bad car accident. I mean, like a bad car accident. She said, but he came out without a scratch. And she said, at the very moment that I heard that, I remembered, God woke me up. God woke me up to pray. I'm not one of these people that God wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I just never have been. I know there are people that God wakes you up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. He's like, hey, I just need some time. Let's have a conversation. Don't let it be that you feel like you got to be that deep to intercede. But I'm going to caution you as well, especially those people who maybe that's starting to happen to you. You starting to see yourself waking up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, like wide awake. Not like I'm about to turn over and go back to sleep. Like you are wide awake. May I submit to you that God is ringing your phone. God is calling you to get up and intercede for somebody. You may not know their names. You may not have any idea where they are, what they're going through. But I want to tell you that if you're waking up at them times in the morning and you just wide awake, it's God. And he's simply asking you to intercede. He's simply asking you to get up out of your comfort zone for just a moment and come to me on behalf of somebody the way somebody probably came to him on behalf of you. Moses, we understand that Moses was like a predecessor, right? He's a precursor to Christ. Moses was a deliverer of the people of Israel, and Christ came to be deliverer of, well, everybody. And so when I was kind of going through this, I realized that, and I'm going to coin this, I'm going to entitle this, the greatest intercessory prayer ever prayed. Ever. Hands down. Tremendous. Matthew 26, verse 39. This is Jesus praying in the garden, just prior to him being arrested and subsequently crucified. Verse 39 of chapter 26 says, he went on a little further and fell face down on the ground praying, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup of suffering be taken away from me. Yet I want your will, not mine. Of course, King James says, your will be done, not mine. May I put this into our plates for just a second? The moment that Jesus says to the Father, let your will be done, not mine, was the greatest moment of intercession that has ever happened in human history. Because at that moment, although he wanted to choose something else, he chose to stand in between two opposing forces, knowing full well that if he moved, knowing full well that if he flinched, knowing full well that if he blinked at this moment, God would kill all of us because we deserve it. He stepped into this moment of intercession and he says, beat me, mock me, spit on me, nail my hands and feet, crucify me. But do so so that God doesn't kill these people. There has never been a greater moment of intercession than that. The moment Jesus decided that's what he was going to do, he stepped into the role, the greatest intercessor ever. The Bible does say that he ever lives to make intercession. But I'm talking about this human Jesus. I'm talking about this man in a garden who, according to the text, did not want to step into the place of intercession. Not that place, but he did it. He did it so that thousands of years later, you and I could sit here. Here's the thing that I absolutely love about this moment with Jesus. Jesus did not die for the people he knew were going to accept him. He did not have a reservation list. Jesus died knowing full well that most people would reject him outright. Yet, he didn't exclude those people from the cross. He didn't let the actions of the people, because he sees forever, right? He didn't let my actions, being born in 1969, not really finding Christ until 2000. He saw me, and he didn't let my actions disqualify me from him going to the cross for me. He did it irrespective of where we are, where we would be. So I'm coming down that street to say to whomever is in the room, you are not disqualified. The condition of Christ's heart was so much that he said, Father, let your will be done. If I have to die this horrible death to save the world, then so be it. He did that knowing he would be rejected. Can you, listen, let me put this in a real pedestrian place. Would you knowingly prepare a 5-course dinner knowing that the person that you invited is not coming? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't prepare a meal. No, I'm not going to cook knowing full well that Alfie and Joy are not going to come. I've invited them, but I already know that they're going to come, and I'm going to fix the meal anyway. Do you know what the cross says? The cross says, I'm going to do this just in case. Just in case you decide that you don't want to die and go to hell. Just in case you decide you believe what I did, I'm going to do it, whether you get here or not. Because if I don't do it, you never have the chance. But I'll lay it down. Do with it what you will. That never ceases to blow my mind. That he did it no matter whether or not you're going to come, but just in case. Just in case. Just in case you come into New Covenant on a Sunday morning and you say, dude, I'm so tired of this sin life. I'm tired. I can't sleep. Everything I try to do crumbles. And you say, just in case, I got you. Just in case. Just in case you decide that today is the day that you're going to give up your life of sin. Just in case, I went ahead and knocked it out for you. I did the hard part. I died. You don't have to die.
Come and experience transforming worship at New Covenant Christian Ministries. We have 2 locations. Our West Campus is located at 1760 Phillips Road, Lithonia, Georgia. Our East Campus is located at 14147 Highway 278, Covington, Georgia. For more information, please visit our website at www.newcov.org.